It had been a while since I made a Learn to Invade video, and I was thinking about things that I could make a Learn to Invade on that might help some people out. So I go back and I watch some of my older videos, and I noticed I was a lot quicker to pull the trigger on a parry back then. Critical attacks started to become something I started working on. So, without further ado, this is a Hell Parry. It's coined by I Am Amish. It's a really good invasion-focused YouTube channel. That guy had no health left, and he saw his opportunity to win dwindling away, and so he went for the Hell Parry. We all do it occasionally, but it led me straight into a backstab because I saw it coming. That's something I've been working on. Now, this particular opponent was a little laggy, and he was using a poise weapon, which is pretty dangerous. So I was using the Black Knight Straight Sword, and I was able to get to him with a poise backstab. Any of you who have played Dark Souls 1 will be familiar. Essentially, you can do this with Acestus as well, but essentially you just poise through an attack that's slow, position yourself to get the backstab, easy peasy. Now in this video, I plan on showing you guys different backstab techniques and different parry techniques that I use, and I've been working on my critical attacks myself. I've been trying to get back into the hang of backstabs and parries. I've been doing it a lot on stream. There's opportunities for backstabs that I'm not taking because I'm second guessing the netcode, and I'm second guessing my positioning. So I decided I was just not going to do that. Now, having said that, welcome to Learn to Invade Critical Tips. We are on that critical tip. We are going to tip critically. I included this little invasion right here for two reasons. One, because it has a nice parry at the end of it, and two, because I wanted to show you that even though I went into these invasions thinking, alright, I'm going to work on my parries and my backstabs, I didn't let that consume me, because you'll lose. You can't, well, I'll lose. You might be able to do it. I can't. I can't focus my entire playstyle around that. I'll lose track of my opponents. I'll get like tunnel vision real bad, and it'll end up getting me killed. Now you can see I'm using the Black Knight Greatsword. It was because I intended on doing a poise backstab on the freed scythe weapon art, but the other blues showed up, and so I had to take care of them. When I finally found the host, however, it was one-on-one, so I'm able to think ahead. You can see I've already switched to a charcoal pine bundle in anticipation of getting a parry against Goddard's. That is a prediction parry, and basically I'm hitting parry as soon as his roll stops. Hit the pine bundle, take the riposte. Prediction parry is any kind of parry where you know your opponent's going to walk up to you and press R1, so at the exact same time you're pressing L1. I'm sorry, you're pressing L2, with a medium shield anyway. Now, with a buckler or a target shield, or one of the ones that has a shit ton of parry frames, you can do it on reaction. With a small shield, I would hazard probably you could do it on reaction as well. Since I'm using a medium shield, I have to start a little earlier than most. So let's take a look at the Pine Bundle that I was talking about. We've got 413 AR on the Slothrop Knight Straight Sword, refined, 413, no buff. So we go ahead and buff it with charcoal pine resin, we get 498. We go ahead and we buff it with the lightning pine resin, we get 508. Now the reason I chose those two is to show you the lightning infusion has more AR, right? Okay, well now let's look at bundles. So the charcoal pine bundle gives us an AR of 523. You can see that's well over the charcoal pine resin. And the gold pine bundle gives us an AR of 533. So just off the top of your head, it looks like you get more AR for lightning, right? But keep in mind, lightning defense is determined by endurance. Fire defense is determined by strength. Now on a quality build, like I've got here, they're both 158. That's the defense I have for both, 158 fire and lightning. But a sorcerer, for example, probably isn't going to have a lot of strength. So fire would probably be the way to go for the buff. Whereas someone who's using an ultra great sword, you know, they're probably going to have a lot of endurance. So even though lightning looks like it's better, you know, by the numbers, that's taking into consideration that the damage, you know, resistance is there for pretty much everybody. Everybody's going to have, you know, some endurance, while not everyone is going to have strength. That's just something to keep in mind. Now, using those bundles is absolutely a great way to up your backstab and your parry game, your riposte game, I guess. But now, it's not something that I do every time, because I just can't, you know what I mean? It's like I can't think to do it every time. But if I see the opportunity starting to present itself, I will definitely go ahead and get those ready. There we see the hell parry again. We're able to take advantage, get that backstab. Right on time, we get Havel with the wrong shield. This is a reaction parry. You see how, did you see when that parry actually started up? I actually saw that attack and then pressed parry. That's how slow one-handed ultra weapons are. A medium shield can parry them upon recognizing that the attack is happening. You don't have to predict at all. That's how slow one-handed ultras are. So that was a parry I wouldn't have gone for, you know, if I wasn't making this video. I wouldn't have gone for that. And I'll tell you why. Because, well, you can roll through here twice on an ultra weapon and get a backstab. Easy peasy. If they go for the third hit, it might clip you, but you'll definitely get the backstab. If he had rolled away, he might have gotten out of that backstab, but he did not. What I was saying, though, was I wouldn't go for that parry typically, because there's just a lot more efficient options besides parrying. Parrying is such a gamble. It's such a huge waste if you mess it up. So it's sometimes, actually it's usually smarter to always just roll out. Just don't go for the parry. Unless you're in a situation like this where you're one-on-one, you know the parry is going to be easy to get, you know nothing's going to interrupt you if you take the riposte, that sort of thing. Notice how he broke him from swinging twice there. But for the purpose of this video, I went into all of these invasions very much with parries and backstabs on my mind. That was the number one thing I was after. That was the number one thing I was going for. And I was going to convince myself that I was going to start pulling the trigger faster on parries like I had done previously. The problem is I was starting to respect like all of my opponents like they were, you know, but and I'm not saying you should underestimate them. 2, 3 swings, anything slower than a straight sword, even a medium shield can get that parry on anything slower than a straight sword. On a straight sword with a perfect connection, you can get the parry. But anything, you know, that's few and far between. There it is again. So we'd already caught him with that once, and he still went for it again. You see what I'm talking about? Like, don't underestimate your opponents, but if they give you the opportunity, if they present that opportunity to you, then, you know, you should be thinking about taking that from them. Here we find the host. It's old Goddard's guy again. So, knowing it's Goddard's guy, I thought, okay, I'm going to get ready for some more parries, some more backstabs. Now, this right here, you can see me kind of walking through his rolls. I'm trying to do the old Dark Souls 1 roll backstab. Jay Blackmail used to say, if you give me your back 10 times, I'm going to take it 10 times. Now, this is Dark Souls 3. The netcode's a little better, so if you give me your back 10 times, I'm probably going to take it 3 or 4. But the point remains the same. You give me your back, I'm going to take it. And that's exactly what happened there. I'm just staying on him, and I'm making him roll through me. A better player than I would be able to catch a lot more of these rolls as backstabs. Another thing you'll see me doing a lot during this video is I'm not staying super aggressive on people. I'm letting them heal, because that's me going for the 0 latency parry, and as you can see, we did not have 0 latency. I'm not being as aggressive. Usually when someone starts to heal, I'll run up on them and I'll hit them twice, 2 R1s. Not running R1, 2 R1s. In these invasions, I was kind of going easy on my opponents in that regard because I'm trying to figure out the best way to get backstabs as Estus punishes. And I know what you're thinking, Estus is too easy in Dark Souls 3, and you're not wrong. But I have seen people consistently punish Estus with a backstab, and I have done it enough that I know it's possible. I basically just need to change my strategy from walking up and taking 2 R1s to figuring out the angle to get that backstab, which is another thing I want to talk about. The angle on a backstab, a lot of times I won't try for a backstab, or I'll try for one and I'll get pissed off that I didn't get it because the angle looked good to me, but the game doesn't give me the backstab. It just gives me a regular R1, right? So I've started noticing that the angle for backstabs is actually pretty forgiving. It's more forgiving than I thought it was. You don't have to be flush on someone's back. If you're flush on someone's back, here's a circle backstab. Dark Souls 1 days right there. He was circling me, so I started circling him, and I just didn't take it fast enough. He took it before I did. We see there he'll swing his weapon twice, which means we can totally just set up parry, because this is a one-handed greatsword. So 1 parry, right there. It's not on reaction. As soon as his first hit goes off my shield, I'm pressing parry. If you watch some of these, if you go back and you watch some of these in slow motion, watch when my stamina starts to deplete. That's when I press the button. The parry frames align with your stamina depletion. If you do a parry and you want to know if it's going to hit or not, look at the stamina depletion. Those are your active parry frames. That there, face tank parry. Basically, you just get hit 3 times and you just face tank the parry. That's essentially the same thing as a third swing parry. The only difference being, you can do that against like a washing pole, something that lets you reset your stun lock. That's fine, but don't try that against a straight sword, because more often than not, unless you're on a really good connection, you're going to fail that parry. That host made me chase him around, so I just kind of fast forwarded through all that. So here, this is something I've been working on a lot, fighting against other shield users. Now, you'll notice, like, here I'm running around, and my shield's not up. I'm just running around, right? The shield isn't there. I'm not turtling behind it. He's not either. See how he's not, like, turtled behind his shield? I ran up on him. I gave him a little L1 wiggle to see how he would react, and he went for the parry, which tells me this dude's looking for the parry. So I can abuse that. Now, this guy, he keeps his shield up a lot. It's a Black Knight shield, so it's got tons of stability, which means the game is basically kind of got it in his head that he can, just tank everything with the shield, because he pretty much can. So I get the pawn bundle ready. I know that parry's coming. I knew it was coming, and I take the backstab. That is something that I've been working on. When you hit that pawn bundle, the opponent is expecting the running R1 or you to walk up an R1, so they go for the parry, and instead you hit him with the backstab. That's basically your opponent underestimating you. That is one that you can reliably get as far as backstabs go. That's a reliable, easy backstab. Especially when you see someone using a weapon two-handed, and then they go one-handed all of a sudden just so they can have their parry shield out, or their cestus, or you know what I mean? They'll go to that parry tool, and you basically, know what's coming. Just run in behind them. Just run past them. The game will target you towards them. It will give you their back in the middle of that parry animation, and you just take it. Now, I know this is an odd choice, me going to the falchion, but I swear to God, I don't have any data to back this up. If you trade once falchion to dagger, the falchion won't lose any more trades. You will always get your swing off. It's fast enough that you will always, and you will win. You get all the trades because falchion does more damage. So anytime I fight a dagger user, I go to my falchion. This guy's still going for parries. He's also one-handing that weapon, which makes it easy to parry. But again, I'm not going to go for parries unless I've got plenty of time. There's no reason for me to try and rush it, you know what I mean? And plus, this dude wants to backstab anyway. See, I couldn't even get the backstab. That's how well they're watching each other's back. So here he goes to circle, backstab me. I just circle the opposite direction, and I take the backstab. Dark Souls 1. Shout out to Don't Circle Me, I'll Circle You. How that works is, and I just did it again, I just didn't get the backstab because I think I pressed R1 too late. Basically how that works is, they're circling you, looking for the backstab. All you have to do is circle them back in the opposite direction. There you saw a straight sword do a running R1 into a regular R1. Running R1s have no stagger on them. So, as soon as the running R1 is over, the next R1, you can parry it, even with a medium shield. I was pressing parry as soon as he hit me with that running R1, because I knew if he threw another R1 out, I'd be able to parry it, and I did. Now with a buckler, smaller shield, it's probably even easier, but for me, not that hard. Medium shield. And that's another thing I want to talk about, how great medium shields are, period. Lothric Knight Shield is second only to the Black Knight Shield in terms of stability, right? So that makes it a really good shield. Add on to that the fact that it can parry, now it's a really, really good shield. Now here, we're going to get some more of the same stuff here. He's going to swing twice with something slower than a straight sword, and I get the setup parry. You can do that with great swords, you can do it with axes, you can do it with clubs, you can do it with anything. Think of this game as paper, rock, scissors, basically. There's 3 different swing speeds. And anything that swings at that speed, you can set up parry. Now, like I said, with a buckler or a a small parry shield, you could probably do that on reaction. I can't because I'm using a medium shield. I have to do it on prediction. But if you're throwing out more than one R1, this is the high speed, get off it, dude, backstab. If you throw out more than one R1 and you give me that pattern, I'm gonna attempt it. I'm gonna attempt the setup parry. That was just a run in behind the guy because he's not looking at me backstab. No fancy name for that one. See how I can hit him twice while he drinks his Estus? And if he rolls out and he fucks up the roll, I get an extra hit on him. That's how I typically punish Estus. But for the purposes of this video, I'm trying to get better at punishing Estus with a backstab. I'm pressing R1 too late. I'm being too conscious of the angle, and I need to not worry so much about the angle. Here he's swinging out one R1. He's trying to avoid that that 2-swing ultra backstab. Yep, I'm going too far deep. I'm going too deep. I'm in too deep. So at this point he switches to a straight sword because he's tired of me abusing him. That is a wake up parry. If he had pressed R1, that would have been a guaranteed parry. Since he didn't press R1, obviously it wasn't, but anytime 2 straight swords hit each other and R1 at the same time and you're both stunned, you're going to come out of stun at the same time. So if one of you's pressing R1 and the other one's pressing parry, that's what happens. You get the parry. And that one's hard to punish too, because you either delay your R1 or you just roll away. Now this guy here is using the Paired Knight Scrub Swords. I'm going to roll out on that last hit. That's the hit you want to roll out on. Just be patient if you can. Sometimes it's easy to just want to mash circle, but especially with that weapon and there's another weapon in play and you know you're just going to get stun locked forever. But watch here. Roll through. He's on all fours like a dog. You just backstab him. Now, there's a whole lot of attacks in this game from a whole lot of different weapons that will put somebody in that prone position. Jump attack is one with most weapons. The Ring Knight paired great swords will put you in that prone position. The Wolf Sword, Old Wolf Sword, the one that does the Artorias flip, will put you in that position. And the Bonfire Coil Sword that you get from the Soul of Cinder, when you do that weapon art, that will also put you in that prone all fours position. So all of those are just a super easy backstab. One other thing I want to touch on about the Lothric Knight Shield, I'm a Dark Souls 1 guy, so I'm a big fan of medium shields parrying. I don't know why, I think just aesthetically it looks cool. But no one ever expects a parry from a Lothric Knight Shield. Most people don't expect you to parry with it, which gives you a lot of leverage over your opponents. So there's a setup parry. We're going full-blown try-hard at this point. I'm wearing the Hornet Ring just to kind of show off how quickly you can get rid of people if you're playing this way. And again, keep in mind, I am not, you know, like a big fan of the Hornet Ring, because honestly, it's just a whole lot of loading screens. Especially if you want to play with like a Chaos Dagger, just not my style really. Nothing wrong with it if that's how you want to play, but to me, a good fight I think is more fun than winning. So, alright, I left this in here just so you guys could see this was all one invasion. This is all one really long invasion. I'm searching around for the host. I can't find him. I think I just had the misfortune of spawning in the wrong place in comparison to him. Finally a blue shows up. So I'm wearing the Obscuring Ring and the Silver Cat Ring, and I'm dropping these Hello Stones and dropping Prism Stones, just trying to get him to like wander over here, because he doesn't know if I'm a red or the host. He gives me the little wave, and then his gesture ends, and he takes one step backwards, and he avoids the plunge attack. But this isn't a plunge attack video. This is a critical attack video. So yeah, I'm wearing the Hornet Ring for the rest of these because I just wanted to kind of go full blown try hard and show you like what you're doing, what you're dealing with this kind of stuff in terms of damage. Now, keep in mind, I should be using these bundles. This is a test right here, by the way. He swings once, so I pick up my shield and I move in towards him. He doesn't swing twice, so I'm thinking, okay, he might not swing twice every time. But then he does. So, he had already taken some damage. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see like the full brunt of how much damage we did there, but it was a lot. A couple more blues show up. I'm bringing back the bow and arrow, y'all. I've been watching too much Jay Blackmail and Peeve Peeverson Dark Souls 1 videos. I'm bringing back the bow. I don't give a shit. I know it's not good. I'm still doing it. It's fun. Now again, this is an ultra great sword and a great sword. So parries went right out the window. I'm not even worried about parries. Now if I get a backstab, I'll take it, but I'm not going to go for parries at this point. Obviously you can't parry a two-handed ultra great sword. Now the great sword, that's pretty easy to parry if he swings twice. You can see right there he didn't though. These little turtles do work, I'll tell you what, man. Look at that. Now it's just me and him. I've got a straight sword and a shield. He's got an ultra. It's backstab parry city. If he goes for a rolling R1, it's fucking over. I managed to catch him with a backstab here. Or there. I tried to catch him with a backstab here. Didn't get it. But that's fine. Still working on it, man. Still working on the heel parry. I see him swinging only once, but I go ahead and get the Pine Bundle ready just in case he wants to swing twice and I can get the backstab. Here he goes for a running R1. Watch how I roll into him. And me rolling into him stops me from rolling too far, and I get the backstab. That is an excellent technique for people who are swinging big weapons. Roll into them. This is the best gesture. I don't care if it triggers you or not. It's my channel, and you use that gesture because I said so. Finally, I find the host. There's two more blues. They just killed another invader. Here's the cheeky, you weren't paying attention to me, so I stabbed you, backstab. Now we've got great sword, great club, and the exile curved great sword. So this is going to be nasty. Parrying is right off the table. Backstabs are on the table if I can find the angle. But for the most part, I'm going to just have to rely on punishing mistakes until I get these guys separated. Keep in mind, an invasion's only a 3v1 or a 4v1 until it's not. When I hit that guy and he backs off, it's no longer a 3v1, is it? So he switches weapons, wants to go something a little faster, and I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to get abused by a straight sword either, using an ultra weapon. But I'm going, like I said, this is like full-blown tryhard. 2 parries in a row. Got the charcoal, pine bundle, hornet ring backstab. Now this dude runs up and, so yeah. I was going to go for the exact same thing. He thought better of it, and instead of going for the parry attempt, he just rolled out. But notice how quickly this stopped being a 3v1. Now, I have to pay attention, otherwise it's still going to be a 3v1, because it's going to be a 3v1 again in a minute. Or, nope, that cricket took care of it. It's going to be a 2v1. But the point is, for a moment, it's not. This isn't, you know what I mean? Go for the wake-up parry. Now, since this guy's so parry-focused, that's the angle. Did you see how I took it and I wasn't flush on his back? That's the angle I'm talking about. You don't have to have, like, the perfect backstab angle. You can sort of be at the corner of their back. Don't ask me. I guess it's just the way the netcode looks. Maybe on his screen I was flush on his back. But yeah, keep that in mind. You know what I mean? Like, everybody complains about invasions are always 3v1s or 2v1s. Just hit one of them, and then it stops being that because they have to leave. You know what I mean? They have to back up and heal. And when they back off to heal, it's just a 1v1. Even if it's just a 1v1 for 20 seconds. For 20 seconds, it was a 1v1. And if you're good, you can take advantage of those 20 seconds. So here I see him swinging an ultra great one-handed. That's a reaction parry, even with the medium shield. I can parry that on reaction. And what that means is he's going to swing it twice, and when I see the second swing start up, I can parry it. It's a setup parry, sure, but I could parry that first R1. But just to make sure I'm giving myself the best chance to parry, I will always do it as a setup parry, because that's what the Lothric Knight shield is good for. People see that shield and they just want to spam their attacks into it. Don't know why, they just want to spam that attack. They just want to test the shield, you know? See if they can get the guard break. On reaction. And then these dudes just get fucking murked by Zully and the cricket magic. GG though, fellows. Here I'm trying to separate these two. If I can knock one off the cliff, then the other one will be alone. The host foolishly does what I want without me having to hit anybody with an arrow. Ultra Greatsword. That's on reaction. That was not a guess. I saw him start R1ing. I saw him start the attack, and I parried it. That's how slow that weapon is when you one-hand it. I accidentally roll off the cliff here, so I'll skip ahead a little bit. I'm not gonna make you guys watch me heal my chip damage from falling. Went for the circle backstab there, but because he continued to circle, I guess the latency check that took place, I don't know if it's a latency check or a confirmation of distance, but I didn't get the backstab. Make an impromptu accidental exit right there. But did you notice how the straight sword, he swung, or she swung 3 times in a row? We're going to tuck that away for later use. Catch back up with him. The Phantom has switched to a curved greatsword. I don't know. Maybe he thinks this is harder to parry. I don't know. That is not on reaction. That is a guess. But I felt confident in that guess because that dude liked to press R1 a lot. Now you can see we get 1100 damage. The host is just beating the shit out of Patches. So I managed to hit her. The R2 pushes her to the ledge and initiates the lap quest line. And that will bring to a close our Learn to Invade critical tips for criticals. In all honesty, these Learn to Invades, they help me as much as I hope they help you guys out. They sort of force me to focus on one particular thing and get better at doing it. So yeah, I enjoy doing these. It's just been a while since I've done one, but I hope it helped you out. I hope to see you guys out there backstabbing and parrying fucking everything with your medium shield like Dark Souls 1 intended. Alright. Thanks for watching. Later, y'all.